Hey guys, this is Damon Rawls with another episode of Conversations where I interview dope entrepreneurs in the Knoxville area. And so today I have the pleasure of hanging out with the CEO of Lightfoot Media, Elijah Lightfoot. How you doing, man?
Hey, Damon. Hey, man. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to share my story and be on this platform with you. I'm doing great, feeling blessed, feeling good and healthy, feeling energized, and just excited to share my story. So people can kind of know a little bit about me and a little bit about what I do.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
So let's start off. I love to throw softball questions out in the beginning. So um, tell the people about you and your business.
Absolutely, man. So a little bit about me. I am born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. I come from a very loving family, a big family. I have three older brothers and one little sister, and we're all pretty close in age. So came from Memphis, Tennessee. I actually first was introduced to Knoxville through the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. That's where I have my undergrad. I attended UT Knox from 2008 to 2012 and ended up going back to Memphis where I went to grad school and ended up meeting my wife, who's actually from Knoxville in Memphis. And after grad school, we decided that we would come back to Knoxville. So that's how I ended up back in Knoxville, and I've been back for about 6 years. I never thought I'd come back to Knoxville. It is so different being an adult in Knoxville versus a student, because all I had known about Knoxville was a University of Tennessee. So it's been just a special, I guess, second go around here in Knoxville. Having my wife's family and everything. But like I said, I come from a big family. I actually got my master's degree in occupational therapy. That's what I went to grad school for, and came to Knoxville and started working in the healthcare field. I worked in acute care at Park West Medical Center for about 2.5 years, and then I did a little bit of work in mental health at Peninsula for about 2.5 years. All the while I was doing photography, and I'll tell you a lot more about photography. But just a couple other things about me. Grew up very athletic. Did a lot of things. Played in the band. Played trumpet for several years. Baseball was the first love of mine. So when you said softball, I got excited there for a second. Yeah, played a lot of baseball. I'm actually on a softball team now here in Knoxville. We actually won the league championship this year.
Okay.
Of all things, right? But I love things like music, and I love food. I love spending time with people. Love golf. Love sports. Big sports fan. Big UT sports fan. So try to do a little bit of everything. Basketball, football, baseball. So yeah, kind of a jack of all trades with those things. But that's a little bit about me.
Man, that's dope. I play a little softball, and then I popped my hamstring, and so
Ah,
I popped it. I mean,
oh man,
running the first base,
it
popped
happens
it,
all the time, man.
popped it, man. I
That's
said,
actually why I got into golf. Is because I played baseball so much, but when I got to Knoxville, I didn't know enough people to be on a team. So I said, I like hitting the ball. Let me just pick up golf, and then I started playing golf because of that. So
yeah.
it's
Well,
fun.
nice, man. You met you came to UT, but you worked. So let me ask you this: so the whole time you were working, were you fiddling around with photography? Had it always been? Was it one of those things that kind of stuck with you that you knew eventually you wanted to do?
So let me give you. I guess I'll give you. This is a good time to give you a little bit of backstory. The birth of my photography aspirations or desire to do photography came really started when I was about middle school, high school time. And what happened was around, every year people would post their baby photos. And unfortunately, I never had any baby photos to share because for whatever reason, my parents did. Maybe I was an ugly baby. I don't know. They didn't. They didn't take any baby pictures of me. My earliest photo was I was 2 years old, and for years, Damon, I'd always just was curious. What did I look like as a baby? how was my head shaped? How big were my cheeks? I just always wanted to know those things. And all my other siblings had baby photos.
Mm-hmm.
So for so long, that just always troubled me. And I just, was, just always questioning, like, man, I really wish I would have had some photos from that. So what happened was I just thought to myself, now that, when cell phones were coming out and cameras and things like that, I just always wanted to capture my life because I always wanted to look back at it. So I then became known as very photogenic. People would always say, Elijah's always taking pictures. I was a guy always stopping and just trying to capture everything. So I just, developed this passion for moments. And when I was actually in college, my brother bought like a nice camera, like a fancy camera, and he never used it. And it stayed in the box. And one day I asked him, I said, bro, do you care if I use your camera? You're not using it. And he said, sure, why not? And I picked the camera up, Damon, and like I said, the rest is history, man. I just kind of went from there and just started to learn how to use the camera and, and started to kind of get really good with it. But so this was around like college time, grad school, but I did take a break, so when I was working as an occupational therapist, I took a break from photography so that I could focus on that profession. My wife was always nudging me, as well as my family, like, hey, you got to get back into photography. I don't know why you stopped. And I just kind of, I think I got a little bit burnt out before because when I first started, I was just doing everything, saying yes to every gig and just doing things that I wasn't really passionate about. And so I took a break but I kept, it kept coming back to me, pick the camera back up, do it again. And about 2 years ago, I picked it back up seriously, and then just kind of hit the ground running, doing it mostly part-time. And this year I decided that I was going to go full-time with it. And it's just been an amazing journey being full-time in it.
Nice. Well, I do want to tell you, don't feel bad, man. Your parents did not do you wrong. Your problem is where you fell in the birth order. See, that's the problem.
That's a good point. I was the last boy.
Yeah. See, you had three. You said 3 older brothers.
3 older brothers. Yeah.
See, they were tired, man. They were done taking pictures. The first one, he got all the pictures. The second one, he got some. The third one, he got a few less. By the time they got to you, they were like, "Yo, we out."
Not realizing how that would affect me either. I believe it had to happen, though. I believe it had to happen.
And then the little girl, like your sister, is the baby. She got all the pictures.
Every last one.
See, it's man. So don't feel bad, brother.
Yeah, I know, man. You know what's funny, Damon? If you were to see my siblings, I've got one of my brothers. We look just alike. Have very similar features, and my other 2 brothers, they look alike. So I would look at my brother, who I look like, who has the same complexion, same hair type. I look at his baby photos and just kind of think, oh, maybe that's kind of what I look like.
So so good, man. Okay, let's talk about you were being nudged to kind of keep at it in photography, but you did say something that was key. And I talk to my clients about this a lot, and even my photography clients, because I have several photographer businesses that I consult with, is taking all kinds of jobs and not honing in on your specialty. And I think you said it. You said that I started taking all this stuff and I was burned out because there weren't your passions. So talk to your type of photography. Like what area of photography is your passion?
Man, I'm so glad you caught that, Damon, because that is a key component of my vision, my business and my vision. And why I feel that I'm as successful as I am now is because I realized like what I found passion in and what just didn't fuel me. So before, when you're first getting started, and a lot of photographers go through this process. When you first get started, you do whatever is available so you can make money. And so back then it was a lot of, there were more like event type gigs that I was being asked to do, birthday parties, social events, church events. I mean, you name it, any type of event I was being asked to do. And what I found was the events that I would do where all they wanted me to do was stand next to a backdrop and take pictures. Those were the ones that I just did not find passion in. I dreaded them. I was miserable while I was there because I felt like I had no creativity. There was zero creativity. People stood next to a backdrop, they smiled, and that was it. And that was just not exciting to me. It wasn't something I looked forward to, and I felt like it really limited like my creative freedom. So it's actually a blessing. I believe that I took the time off so that I could, focus on what it was that I wanted to specialize in. And at the time, I didn't really know, but I knew I liked working with people, and I knew I liked doing things, out and about in nature, in the landscape of, whether it be downtown or at a park. I knew I liked connection, and I liked candid moments. That was really a big thing for me. Is I wanted people to look at my work and just think like, man, like how are those photos so natural and so, they just seem like so free flowing. So that was where I wanted to focus on. So, so that led me to fine tune my craft. And what I would say is, is a specialty of mine is a portrait photography and lifestyle photography. So, whether that's, a family of 3+, being out at a park, sharing those moments together, or a maternity session with a couple who's having their first child, or an engagement session of 2 people who are soon to be married. I do a lot of those types of events. A lot of those types of photography sessions, and those are what I find the most passionate.
Yeah, well, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So let's talk about being you're in business now. You've walked away from corporate America. You're doing your thing. You eat, sleep, and and dream it every day. So how hard is that in the work of working with your passion, right? Because I know, like, artists, you guys, photographers, I kind of consider you artists. So, and artists are a weird bunch in that the business aspect of the work kind of bothers you. So, do you find yourself that way, or is it, hey, the grind is the grind?
Man, another great question. It's only been 7 months that I've been a full-time entrepreneur. And, I've told my wife this, that the rest of this year was honestly, for lack of better words, really like a trial run of how to be an entrepreneur. I don't know that everything there is to know about being an entrepreneur. I do have friends who have entrepreneurial backgrounds, but that was never how I was raised. My family, a blue collar family, parents still working full-time jobs. So this has really been a lot of exploration, and I'm really learning as I go. But I'm also, trying to, you do what feels right, and but also, watch what other people are doing and try to learn from them. So there is a huge business aspect to being an entrepreneur. And yes, a photographer is an artist, but at the same time, what most people don't realize is that you're the CEO, you're the photographer, you're the editor, you're the social media person, you're the account keeper, you're everything. And that, I'm sure you can relate. That has been a challenge. But I feel like I've taken on that challenge very well. I would say probably the biggest struggle that I have is just knowing when to cut that part off, or to kind of, draw the line in the sand as far as like taking a break. When you work for yourself, you make your own schedule, and there is a lot of freedom, but at the same time, you're so passionate about what you do that you make reasons to do those passions, but don't realize how it may affect you in the long run, and knowing that you need a breather, or you need to just be just a person, So that's been kind of the biggest challenge for me. And then, there is a lot of back end business things that, again, that I still have questions about. When tax season comes around next year, I'm going to have a lot of questions about, how do I, file my taxes the proper way, the right way, so that I'm, not paying a ton of money, but, doing everything the right way.
Yeah.
There is still a lot to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said year one is about exploration and experimenting. I often try to tell people that your year one, even if you make money in year one, your year one money is a mistake. And I mean by that is you can come into the business with projections, and you can say, I'm going to sell X number of widgets. And you can even say, oh, well, I know I can sell that many because they've been sold before by other companies.
Mm-hmm.
but the conditions are not the same,
Right.
right? And so it's all an assumption. And so what happens in year one is you're just, as I call it, making the donuts, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
just going along and you're making some money. You might make a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know how you made that money.
Right.
You don't strategically know how you made that money. And the business, in every business, there's secrets to that business and how they make money
Mm-hmm.
that you don't know from the outside until you get in the game.
Absolutely.
And then so at year 2, 3, and beyond, now you have historical data that you
Mm-hmm.
can look back at and say, okay, these clients are the best.
Right.
These clients I make the most money with.
Right.
These are my vampire clients that drain me.
Mm-hmm.
This level of marketing, since my down in sales is maybe the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So in the spring, maybe I beef up my marketing
Right.
so that I have a downturn in the summer, but not so low of a downturn,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
So you begin to learn those things about your business by the historical data. So
Absolutely. That's
yeah.
so that's being very keen to, yeah, that's so true. And I've actually learned a little bit of that, or have thought about that some. I know in April was when I first went full time. This was right around graduation time for a lot of UT graduates. And when I tell you, I did so many graduation sessions in
Mm-hmm.
April. I
Mm-hmm.
now know come next year, April is a heavy month.
Yeah.
Same thing with October with the fall time. I had a lot of inquiries, a lot of book sessions for fall photos. So I know for sure those 2 months are really heavy months, and
Mm-hmm.
so I am keeping in the back of my mind kind of how things are flowing. So I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely. For most of the people who are on here, know, like, I had a commercial cleaning company before I
Mm-hmm.
did consulting work, and
Mm-hmm.
literally in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
but like fourth quarter, things will be very, very slow
Mm-hmm.
as far as new accounts. But once I figured it out after year one, I would beef up my kind of fall sales, and I would go heavy, heavy, heavy so that I could sell something and get some things in the pipeline. And even though we had year-long contracts, my goal was to grow as big as I could, as fast as I can. And
Mm-hmm.
so we just, I would know that and catch that. And so I would reach out to a lot of facility managers and make phone calls and blah, 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 all that sales stuff
Mm-hmm.
that needed to happen to drum up business. So,
Mm-hmm. Right.
yeah, agreed. So since things are busy for you, what do you do to relax and take time off? Because the grind is, like you said, the grind can go 24 hours a day. So
Exactly.
what do you do to break that up, or to create boundaries, so to speak?
Oh, that's a good word you just said there. I feel so. One thing that has really helped me specifically know kind of techniques or things to do to kind of alleviate the stress or the busyness is it comes from my background working in mental health, um, where I did a lot of group therapy with people, who have like anxiety disorder, depression, things like that. So we talked a lot about stress management,
Mm.
healthy coping skills, and I mean, we everything from deep breathing to self care to positive words of affirmation, visualization techniques, meditation, all those things. So I do a lot of all those things. So one of the biggest things for me is deep breathing. I do a lot of deep breathing just to kind of slow my mind down, and when I get anxious. So I do a lot of those like everyday kind of quick type of things. I was at one point and still am, but just into like bird watching. I got a little bird feeder. And when I would walk by the window and I'd see those birds, I know it's so funny, and people are probably like, that's weird, but it just slowed me down, watching those birds and just kind of observing them. So those are just some everyday things. But the big things I like, anything that involves sports where I can participate in something
Mm-hmm.
was a great disconnect, because the type of brain function I'm using for those types of things are very different than with photography. So that's why. I joined a softball team. I
Mm-hmm.
would play basketball once a week. I try to golf at least once a week. I need to get into exercising again. That's a big goal for me. So hold me accountable for that. And
Mm-hmm.
then traveling. My wife and I, we love to travel. We love to get out of the house to go explore, go see the world. We took a trip to New York this year. It was my first time in New York, and that was a lot of fun. We've got plans to go on a cruise next year. We're going to Hawaii next year for our 5-year anniversary. So super excited about those things. But I think the key word here is being intentional about scheduling in those times to separate and take a break so that I don't get burnt out again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, we come from generations where we're a little bit smarter than our parents and saw the burnout that happened to them, right?
Absolutely.
And can say, even though I'm working for myself, I need some me time. Because we're all in thinking. It's funny, we all use our brains to make money, but we never take time to think.
Yeah. That's wow. That's heavy.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're going and boom, 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 and like we're never chilling.
Right.
So like,
wow.
I have I call it a 6-week vacation,
Okay.
and it's not even a big vacation, but it's just a break, and so it's going somewhere and stopping, like it's getting a hotel room somewhere, like
Wow.
away from the city, or not, sometimes in the city, but just getting a nice hotel room and just chilling.
Just getting away. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, getting away from the whole stuff and take a book, and just chill and just relax. Sit by the pool, just, calming down, but getting on a golf course. You know how relaxing golf is, except for when you're playing bad. Then it's
the opposite.
Then it's the worst game in the world. Yeah. I mean, I play a lot. We play together from time to time. So
yeah, we do.
It's one of those sports. You love it.
You love it.
You hate it.
It humbles you very quickly.
Exactly, man. But no, I'm glad that you're able to build in those breaks, right? So I know you guys, outside of media, outside of the photos, it's Elijah Lightfoot Media. So what else do you guys offer besides just photography, or is there more? And if so, what is that?
So my wife has, she's a part of the business as well, and she has been able to help us offer videography services. So not only can we offer photography service for, people who are looking to capture their lives and special moments, but also videography services as well, where and the video side, there's a lot of other things that can be offered. I know my wife has worked with several like realtors, people who are pushing their realty business, and they want, house walkthroughs or just videos of them out experiencing different parts of the city. So she's doing a lot of that. But so mostly, photography is like the main concept or the main service for the business, but videography is an extra add-on as well.
Okay. Well, since we're there, I mean, I know we can go on for days. Like this could be a super long conversation, I know, but I want to be conscious of your time, man. And so let's wrap up here. And what would you, just a couple of questions as we wrap it up. What would you tell the younger Elijah today with the knowledge that this Elijah has about what's ahead of him?
Wow. Man, what a question. Wow, that's a great question. I would probably tell him to tap into, don't be afraid to tap into his creativeness earlier. If you were to ask my wife, if you were to ask me, several years ago, I don't think anyone would have guessed that I would be doing this now, because I come from a very, educational heavily, upbringing. You see the 2 degrees behind me, where my parents just continued to push academics as hard as possible, and that was a huge focus. So it's interesting that there are days that I ask myself, man, if I would have tapped into my creativeness earlier, how further along would I be? So I would probably say to him, don't be afraid to tap into your creative side, and do and don't shy away from those creative outlets. So, I talked about being in the band. I played an instrument, and coming from the Black community, that was not really something that was impressive. It wasn't something that people, necessarily. Where I come from Memphis. I mean, you were kind of, you either played sports or you did nothing. So, and that always kind of bothered
Mhm.
me. But I would just say to him, like, find that creative outlet early, and just don't be afraid to tap into it.
All right, good stuff. All right, so where can the people find Elijah Lightfoot Media? What's your social handles, website? Tell the people where they can find you.
Absolutely. Most people reach out to me for my services on social media, and you can find me at just Elijah Lightfoot Photography on Instagram, or Elijah Lightfoot on Instagram. I have 2 pages on there. Elijah Lightfoot Photography on Facebook. People can visit my website. It's ElijahLightfootPhotography.com. And there you can see a lot of my work. You can learn a little bit more about me. You can also inquire, or just kind of see some of the services that I offer, and and we can get a conversation going from there. So I'd say the main place, ElijahLightfootPhotography.com. But if people want to follow me on social media, just Elijah Lightfoot. And that'd be the best way to reach out.
All right, thanks.
Absolutely.
So, folks, I want to thank you for hanging in there with us for 30 minutes of this conversation. This was a great conversation. There was some good stuff that was hit. Elijah dropped some really good jewels.
Thank you.
And again, I will have his info in the comment. I mean, not the comments, but in the description. So you'll be able to find him, and stay tuned for other videos like this where we interview great entrepreneurs in the area. So Elijah, again, I appreciate you, brother. And thanks for being on here with me, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, Damon. Thanks to everybody for watching. I hope to hear from you soon, and best of luck with everything. But thank you, Damon, for having me on here.
Absolutely.